Hi everyone. I'm really excited because, well, I'm doing this and I know exactly what I want to talk about today. I want to go straight into it and I just want to talk about it. I have a very clear image about what I want to talk about, and it's good because I'm just excited to talk about it. Not a big deal or anything, as the title says. But I was watching a video. With I think it was Joe Rogan, the guy who did the Fear Factor stuff. He has a really interesting podcast which is called the Joe Rogan Experience. And I think the one thing I should say is that when you see radio shows and you kind of have, you know, like Joe Rogan or the like Howard Stern, whatever, like they're interesting, but I think those are the types of videos where it really depends who the guest is to like those videos. You know, and so anyways, I can see how someone doesn't like those radio shows, but I like them because some of them are just wacky and just out there. You know, some of the topics they talk about, but that's a good thing because that expands our little box. That like breaks away the box and it says, huh, okay, this is a little bit different than a structured society would want us to think, which is good. It's healthy to expand and push your I don't want to say boundaries, but to push your mental jigs or structures and force you to question what you think is normal or what you think is credible. Anyways, he had a video about Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astronomer. These class, you know, the universe. The Cosmos videos. He's on Nova all the time. Fantastic video. I definitely recommend it. I put a link in the description. And the first part of the video kind of talked about the people not landing on the moon, like the conspiracy stuff, which it's like, look, we landed there. Just move on. Are the videos kind of weird? Yeah. Well, they filmed it in 1969. Okay, cameras sucked in 1969. It's easier to just go to the moon than try to make it up. We went to the moon. It's fantastic. It's awesome. We've been there. Just enjoy it. So I didn't really get into that portion of the video because I just don't care about that stuff, like the conspiracy stuff for that. It's just a waste of time. But what I did like is a little bit more about how Neil deGrasse Tyson goes into talking about our place in the universe and how big it is and how huge it is. And there's an interesting commentary from Joe Rogan. He mentions this interview in another video, and he's talking about how if we were to go to Mars, it's probably actually not that great. Like, should we go to Mars? Yes, it's awesome. I would love to go and visit, but as long as I come back. Anyways, he made an interesting point, which was, you know, the Earth is you're in space. We're in space, and that's what I wanted to expand upon. And I think we kind of get caught up with us going to Mars, going to the moon, and we need to go there. We absolutely need to. But I think the reality is once we get there, we're going to be like, what? There's no ocean, there's no beach, there's no palm trees. I have to be in a suit all day, every time. I can't just walk outside. They get annoying. That wouldn't be very practical. And, you know, it's like we're already in space. We're in space, okay? Earth is just a really big convertible car without a roof that can't retract in. Okay, imagine, like you have the sun, and then you have the Earth, and it's just and you just have this little air, this really thin atmosphere around Earth. But for all intents and purposes, we're in space. We're hurtling through space. And that's fun. That made, after thinking about that and watching the video with some of those interesting perspectives, I kind of looked at things a little bit differently. Like when I looked up at the night sky or looked up at the sun during the day, not directly, I was like, wow, I'm actually in space. I'm just this person, and I'm just on a rock, and this rock is just going straight to space, and that made it more interesting because I think sometimes. A lot of time, you know, I'm definitely guilty of this. You think, oh, I'm stuck on Earth, or this is Earth, or whatever. It's like, you know what? Actually, no. You're just a person on a rock, and it's just moving. And you're in a convertible. You get to see the whole thing, just going right by you. You're in a convertible. And it's not like the International Space Station is that far up above the Earth. I think it's what, 250 miles or so. I mean, it's not that far. And the Kepler's and the Hubble's telescopes, I think they're a little bit further, anywhere from like 250 to 350 miles. I could be wrong about that. I don't know exactly. But that was an interesting perspective. We're on a rock. We're in space. We're in space. Living on Earth is living in space. It's not like, you know, we need to necessarily go to some distant planet to experience what it's like to be in space. We're in it. This is space. You're in space. We're in space. And you have this, you don't have a roof. And once I thought about that, I was like, I started picturing living on Earth and trying to relate it to imagining, you know, standing on a much smaller comet or rock, or even a really small moon. You know, one of the moons of Mars. Really, the moon has two moons, and they're tiny. They're rocks, really. I imagine being on that, and then I just tried to scale it on the Earth. And once I looked at it that way, I became a little bit much more appreciative of Earth. And I thought about living on Earth as being a little bit more exciting, because I didn't feel like I was stuck anymore once I thought about that. And that's what it is. You, me, everyone, we're in space. This is space. There's only, you know, a few miles of really thin air, or several miles of air, but you're in it. You're in space. Everything is in space. And Earth is just a really big convertible. And that's what I wanted to talk about.